I was just thinking about, Genesis 12:1, where God told Abraham, he said, leave your family, leave your kindred, leave your land, right? Leave your country and go to a land that I will tell you about. And what's so interesting about that is that God was telling him to make a great sacrifice. And then God wasn't telling him where he was going. He just told him, get on the road. And sometimes that's what happens, right? Sometimes what God will do is that God will give you the next step instead of giving you the full picture. And sometimes we get paralyzed in our lives and we don't see, where we're going. And so we don't do anything. We don't obey God because we're expecting God to give us a virtual tour. And God's not going to give you a virtual tour of your future. God is simply saying, trust me. Take this next step that I'm going to give you. And when you take this step, I'll give you the next step. And eventually you're going to end up in that place where it's like you're dreaming. And, the Bible says when desire comes, it's a tree of life. And, desire accomplishes sweet to the soul. You'll get to that place that you've been hoping for, that you've been dreaming about, that's in your heart, that place you're supposed to be in, that wealthy place where you're living your dreams. But the key is to recognize that you don't get to tell God how you're going to get there. In fact, you don't get to tell God how he's going to communicate that to you. And just a thought for my life, part of the process I went through, even when it comes to starting FX Church, was that it was a major, major, major life decision for me. Huge. I mean, I had to leave everything. I had to leave a very nice salary. I had to leave, put myself in a position where people could misunderstand what I was doing and why I was doing it and all of that. And then I had opposition, all this stuff going on. And I'm a praying person. So I was praying. And it got to the place where it was like, man, God's not telling me anything else. I know this is actually delayed. What's going on? And I came to the conclusion the problem wasn't that God wasn't talking. It was that he wasn't talking the way I wanted him to talk. Basically, I was like, hey, this is a huge decision. I need you to peel back the roof, put your head down in a bedroom, go face to face with me and speak loudly. This is me. This is what I want you to do. And he wasn't going to do that. He'd already told me that. What he wanted was me to follow the prompting I had in my spirit. It was a very simple, light prompting. He wanted me to trust him enough to just go with the peace that I had versus needing something extra so that I could be sure it was God. No, I knew. And so do you. And if you feel like you're drawing a blank, maybe you need to check on the inside and see if God's already giving you a little nudge that you're dismissing. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're drawing a blank, it's because you're dismissing what he says to you. You've already been praying. Of course, if you're not praying, then clearly you got a problem. But if you've been seeking God for a while and you're still saying, I don't know what God's called me to do, what God wants me to do next, he's told you. You're dismissing it. You're probably dismissing it because it's not what you want to hear, or it's not the way you thought it would be done, or you don't understand how this is going to happen this way, or maybe you think your way is better. You might be dismissing it because you're feeling like, well, God, you got to show me A before I'll do B. And God's saying, no, you do B, then I'll show you A. Listen, just trust God. Go with the prompting that he gives you. Follow peace. And you'll find out that his way is the best way. And you'll get to that destination called the desires of your heart. So anyway, that was long.